Hey guys, it's Avenger, welcome back to the channel. And today we're taking a look at the latest from Black Square. This is the A36 Bonanza. And if it looks a little different, that's true. This one has tip tanks. Now, of course, this is an interior steam gauge overhaul for the aircraft. Now, the exterior is basically unchanged. It's the stock Asobo exterior. So we get opening doors, but we do have one difference, that is this version. The tip tanks version. Now, you'll see here we have regular Analogue, naturally aspirated. We have a turbo normalized version, and we have this. We have the tip tank variant, and it comes with a couple of extra liveries. They're all the same design, just a different color, but it's compatible with all add-on liveries for the Bonanza. Now this comes in at £24.99 sterling on Just Flight's website. That price will vary depending on retailer, of course, where you can get it from. I'm not sure where that will be other than Just Flight just yet, but as it stands, this is, other than tip tanks, entirely an interior and performance change with regards to either extra fuel, the change of performance of having tip tanks, and also the turbo normalized version. Now, let's head inside and take a look at what we actually have with this aircraft. So we do have, as Flo decides he wants to update as I release it from that moment there, I need to actually do that. We have, rather than the previous glass cockpit, which I wasn't a big fan of. I'm sick of glass aircraft. I love having steam gauges, and especially as this is full systems depth aircraft with failures and performance depth, this is a big advantage. Now, the one concession to an opening door is an opening storm window. I can live with that. That's not bad at all. I will take it. We'll see if it affects the sound in a minute. But let's talk about the features this aircraft comes with. So, of course, usual things like 4K plus textures, PBR materials on the interior, all very standard. Now we have a whole reciprocating engine simulation with fouling, vapor lock, flooding and backfires, realistic turbocharger simulation in the sim, which is the most realistic to date, they claim. We have engine leaning optimization, we have selective state saving for radio types, frequency, memory, cabin aesthetics, those sort of things. 80 plus system sub-failures and failures. And we have, of course, cabin environmental control systems for heating, air conditioning, ventilation. These all actually affect things. We have crew and passenger oxygen, which depletes according to pressure, altitude, and occupation and the weight. So fat people breathe more oxygen, throw them out first. Carbon monoxide detector, which actually functions, and that's down here. Right there. This will function with oxygen depletion. We have our standby alternator and gyro logic, with mathematically accurate VO and IDF signal attenuation and noise. So it's kind of cool. Now the sounds are the stock sounds from Asobo, the stock WY sound set, but they have added a ton of extra sounds for various warnings, switches and pumps and other factors which make a lot more realism. We'll show that in a second. And those are pretty good from what I've seen. Now, like I said, the model is basically the same other than those changes. Lots of high detail normal mapping, all things we'd expect from a high detail release. Now, in terms of the cockpit, we have, of course, custom coded steam gauges with low-pass filtering, needle bounce, which is cool, physics and smooth animations, the usual fluff about carefully modelled components, which, again, I would expect. And we have 3D lighting technology, which we'll take a look at in a second, with ambient bounce lighting. It's big words for it's pretty. So in terms of the instruments, we have everything you can see in front of you here. I will not list off every instrument. I'll put a link in the description to the actual page for this. You can look at the instruments yourself. Let's just say it's got a lot and they all work the way they're meant to. Now, in terms of just cool extra things, obviously we have, like I said, the Hobbs timer and carbon monoxide detector there. Those are cool. The chronometers on the actual yokes function. Here. Obviously batteries off right now. And of course we have our alternator systems. The one thing I've not discovered from the manual is if we have a external battery hookup or a start cart. Useful when the battery drains because it will drain, especially if you're operating the starter too heavily. So let's just quickly flip on our electronics and take a look at some of this stuff. We'll start the engine first. So run through the checklist here. Pre-flight inspection, yep, complete. Seatbelts, cabin doors, parking brake is set. Avionics breakers are all in. These are down here. The red denotes it is out. It's a nice visual aid there. Those all appear to be in. Okay, wonderful. We have our flaps are up. That is correct. The flaps are selected upwards. We have oxygen pressure. Oxygen is where? I know it's around here somewhere. I don't remember where that dial is, but I know it's on one of these. It is oxygen. Yep, we're in the green there. We have avionics off. Throttle is closed. Propeller is high RPM. And that is full rich. Correct. Cowl flaps and aileron trim are centered. Those all look good. Alternate air is off. That's down the little red lever there. That's off. Now we have cowl flaps are open. They're open. Aileron trim centered. Elevator alternate air is off. I already said that. Firewall valve is there. That stops any flames coming through if you have the AC system functioning. Now we have landing gear is selected down. That is confirmed. Sub-panel switches are off. That is correct, apart from the load meter, which is fine. Everything else is selected to off, apart from our lights. Let's flick those down. There we go. All lights are off. Main breakers are all in. Yes, static air is off. CO detector is tested. We'll run through this whole startup checklist and see what happens. That's testing. That's fine. Load meter is on primary. Main breakers all in. Yep. Fuel selector is full as tank, so it is selected to left tank. Okay, we got that. Beacon light will be on, which is the switch I want for this. The beacon is on. Battery master is going to be on. So, battery master on. Bus volts is at 23 volts minimum. That is correct, but we are basically at 20. No, we're about 25 right now. Not got a lot of juice to play with, which is the one problem I see here. Annunciators, test and consider. Those are up here. Where's the test warning? I don't know where the button is for that. We'll pretend we did it. Primary alternator on. Standby alternator on. So that'll be that and that. Fuel quantities are checked. Fuel is 50% on both tanks. Good. Ox pump is to low. That is there. No, that's this one, sorry. To low. We're getting fuel metering. We're not. Audible, yes. Aux pump off. Aux fuel pump off, yes. Standby gyro pump needs to be on. Where is my standby gyro pump? It is on. Excellent. Standby eliminated, yes. Standby gyro pump off. So we'll turn that back off again. Okay, that is before starting engine. Let's do engine start cold. So mixture is full rich. We already have that. Prop is full RPM. Throttle is full open. Aux pumped to high for 2 to 3 seconds. Okay. Aux pump to off. Throttle open to 1/4. There we go. Starter engage. This should be a nice simple procedure of flipping that across. You would think that would be simple. We just did everything it asked. So, yeah, it could be a little finicky at times. Let's check our hot start. So, if mixture's cut off, prop is high RPM. It should be hot, though. The engine's not hot. The engine's cold. So this is why I'm confused as to why it isn't operating. Nothing I've done wrong here that you could imagine. So I'm a little unsure as to why it is finding itself having a little bit of a moment here. Let's leave this on low. Maybe give us an assistance with the start. Our fuel is on. We had fuel flow. Give it a bit more, so there's more flowing here. A bit too much fuel there I'm giving it, but... Nope, that's not working. We'll put that back down. This is where I'm a little bit nervous. We're getting lower on our battery juice. So prop mixed... Oh, I had the fuel... No, did I have fuel cut off? No, I have fuel on. Okay. Fuel is definitely selected on. This is where I'm a little bit confused as to what is not functioning here. Because everything should be as it is. That is it off, that is it on again. Everything should be correct here. Where's my selector? Now this could be a conflict between my honeycomb starter and the sim starter. But I don't think it is. That's the weird thing. Because everything you've done is by the checklist. That should all be operating just fine. But it's not working. So I'm going to hit a little magic button here called Control E for the sake of a review. I am likely doing something wrong at the moment. And there goes our avionics. Let's pull the throttle back here. Keep that down there. Okay, so I don't know what I've done wrong here. This is probably a me issue rather than the aircraft. Pretty sure. Most likely a control kind of mapping issue. I'll blame myself rather than them. So, let's take a look at what we've got here now. Of course, we have got a GPS stack. This is the working title 430 and 530. And they are exactly as you'd expect them to be. We're just going to make sure we get our GPS selected before we do anything else with this. Now, you'll find all the options for fiddling with settings here in the weather radar. We switch up to nav and lock. We've got different options: repair engine, refuel oxygen. We go up to here. We have failure rates, scheduled or random failures. What's active? We have detailed settings and various options here. Which give us all sorts of settings and details. Wonderful to use. This allows us to control everything in the aircraft we want to play with. Now, in terms of here, we could switch the 430 to a regular Ben King radio setup. And we could do it with this as well. We'd go full retro if we wanted to, just a radio stack there. Old school, which was a bit weird for an A36, but there you go. Now here we also have the 430s. We also have the 750s. Now this will work with the free PMS, the paid PMS, and the TDS. So you have all those options to use with this avionics system, which is fantastic, and it's fully integrated. We're going to go back to this here, and you have to actually switch it on. And it's doing the whole no GPS position thing, which we're going to fix right now. Get those to force start up again. That's more of a working title Asobo thing, where if for some reason it doesn't like it being switched between modes because it's not turning it off and on properly. So if that ever happens to you, just avionics off, avionics back on again if you've changed your GPS setup on the aircraft. Avionics on, avionics off. Nice and easy. So that'll get itself sorted. We're going to take her for a quick spin, see how she behaves. And I just want to check this actually. Yes, sound definitely changes as we open the storm window. That is good to hear. I like that. Let's make sure the rest of our lights we want are going to be on here. Where the hell's my nav light? I can't see in the dark. I'm feeling for things. There we go. Alright, let's get ourselves ready to rock and roll here. Let's turn my head on. In a second, we'll get ourselves moving, because we've been faffing around here for 40 minutes looking at settings. But that's the whole point of this aircraft. It's all about the systems. The needle bounce, let's see what we get with this. There's definitely some movement and slight variation to the needles. I quite like that. Little bits of movement. Look at even this turn slip indicator. Look at the needles down there on the oil pressure. Little wobble. Should clear off plugs if we have any fouling. So let's get the that's off there. Let's get ourselves taxied out here, shall we? Now we are on the tip tank variant, which means we do have a tip tank selector. Not sure where that one is actually going to be located. Or it should... Well, hello. Now, these guys are bringing out the Baron soon as well, which is something that's really cool to me, because we'll have a full systems depth with failures and realism and state saving. It's selective state saving mostly for settings you've chosen rather than the overall settings of the aircraft. But with things like WIs now coming to Xbox, this is going to expand things hugely for the console market. I'm just going to stop us here while I look for this the tip tank system there. Obviously, the views give us plenty of options to what we actually want to see. There they are. Tip tank transfer pumps, we have to transfer to the main tanks to use it. We can't feed directly from the tip tanks. You feed from the main tanks. You refill the tanks from the tips. Okay? Down here to our various options. We'll put this onto low for departure. Oh, in fact, you know what we will do before we go anywhere? We will put our lights on and we'll go to nighttime. Now we have electronics, we have our alternator running. and we will take a look at what this looks like at night. Very briefly, because I don't like playing the night at the sim. Well, not often. Right, so it's pretty dark in here, as you can see, but the panel's pretty well lit up in a rather well lit way. Let's lift up some of those. There we go. Flight instrument lighting. That's those. Nice and bright. That's our instrument panel floodlight. That's specifically for our engine instruments. And sub-panel lighting down there. Now, do we have anything up here we can click on? We do. The cabin lighting itself will come on as well. And we can even turn the ones back here on, I believe. There we go. Rather beautiful lighting, actually, this aircraft. I will give them credit. That is rather pretty lighting. I even like the fact that they've animated the the Bonanza classic style bench seat that it has here with the raise up kind of seesaw armrest. But you can fully on bench seat this aircraft, which is adorable. And so very 50s Bonanza about this thing. I love that about it. Right, let's go back to daytime here and let's get this thing flying and see how she behaves. I realize we're using up a lot of time messing with features, so in fact, you know what, we're going to turn those off. We just go bing, bing, boom, and we are done. Right, let's get my head switched on here. Let's take her out for a spin, shall we? Okay. Not sure my standby alternator's flickering. I've probably done something wrong again. I'm not an expert with this. This is my second time messing with this aircraft before I came here to review it. I'm not looking at being an expert with this. That's not the point of this. I could be an expert with it and do everything absolutely right, but how many of you are going to be experts? No. There's going to be a few of you who know the Bonanza very well, a few of you who fly Bonanzas, but most of you guys watching this are not going to be familiar with the Bonanza, so I'm going to make mistakes just like you will. Because guess what? When you're buying something and you're flying it for the first time, that's what you're going to experience. And that's the whole point of this, is to really see what it's going to be like. Because this is a very, very detailed simulation, meaning that it's probably going to annoy some people with some of the levels of detail to it. It's going to be a bit much for some people. I'm going to have to go back and study as to why I can't make this thing start. I guarantee it's my fault, but what that fault is, I don't know. So we're pretty light, so we'll be able to lift off pretty quickly here. Select that gear up. Gear in transition. Gear is up, I believe. Let's check the lighting there. Yep, there's the red light for in transition, so that's up and locked. There's the light going out because we've raised our altitude. That was in a flaps up departure, actually. We didn't really need it, it turns out. Now, the sounds are not great. The default Orbx sounds, apart from all the instruments and switches and dials. Everything that's inside the cockpit that's a switch or a motor or... And when we get down again, I will turn on the oxygen for you, because you can hear the oxygen pump. Yeah, that's how detailed this is. All the air conditioning systems and environmentals do function, and you'll get sound even from the oxygen and the vent blowers. So you'll get a bunch of different sounds from various things, like the oxygen system there. You'll hear the pump for the oxygen as I'm pointing my nose up in the bloody air like a fool. Let's get ourselves turned around here. I was a little critical about some of the other ones, the one for the King Air and for the Caravan. I still maintain to this day the Caravan felt weird to me. Maybe something installed wrong, but the Caravan flight model felt really weird. Might just be me. The King Air, I guess it isn't an aircraft that appeals to me as much. I tried to be critical with it, but it does still bother me to an extent that there's no changes to the exterior model. And we're paying £25 for this add-on, which is as much as we'll pay for a full add-on aircraft. Now, I still maintain the price is a little much, considering we had 14, wasn't it, for the 172, I believe. In fact, hold your horses. I know it's a different developer, but I'm gonna look this up while we fly, because I want to make a point here. 172. Search Just Flight's website. That's A2A. That's not going to help me, is it? Flight simulator add-ons. I'm going to look this up while I'm flying. This is definitely not the best habit to have. Looking for light aircraft. That's that one. Says the King Air was £27. Bigger aircraft, fair enough. The Caravan was 21. Odd. The Caravan's bigger than a Bonanza. Was cheaper. And where's the 172? Oddly enough, I don't see it on Just Flight. Was it by somebody else? I could be completely on crack. That is entirely plausible. And the Baron is out as well. I thought this was just this one coming out, but no, the Baron is out also. So I'm probably going to have to review that as well. These basically are very much similar. So if you're getting one, it will behave the same as the other. So if you already have... If you prefer the Bonanza or the Baron, buy one or the other. But considering that they're £25 a pop, that's 50 quid for the two of them. I'm still going to maintain that my one real critical argument for this add-on is that the price is equivalent to a full add-on. Now, many will say, but the system's depth is so much greater. It is so much more advanced. It's better. It's got every detail, every nuance of the aircraft is there. And I agree with you. But it is in the Blackbird 310. And it is in the Boeing 247. There are a number of incredibly high fidelity add-ons that we have now where it's all already modelled. Everything's there, interior and exterior. So yeah, I'm going to still call that, I'm going to die on that hill. The price to me still feels a little high. I believe that 172 add-on, different developer, not Black Square, but I believe it was... I'm actually going to circle us here and bring us straight in for landing. We've been at this way too long already for review. But I believe that was $14.99 or something along those lines. Now, there's the warning horn. Are we slow enough? We're slow enough. We'll drop in the gear. I believe that was $14.99. Now, that had exactly the same depth as this. Single engine GA, about £10 less. Could be completely off when it was more. But as far as I'm aware, that was the case. Now... The price does bug me because, again, you can get a full, really good add-on for this price. There's some trash that gets sold for the sim at the same price as this. Granted. Total rip-off. And there are some amazing add-ons that get sold for this price. I feel like the exterior is not a humongous piece of dev work compared to the coding in these systems. I feel that it's just a last little thing that's missing that would make it perfect. I will die on that hill. I believe there should be an exterior model with these. I think they're great aircraft. Yeah, we have a decently good exterior. It's not like a stock FSX Baron or Bonanza. But I do believe that we should have had that. I don't think this price for just the interior stuff is worth it. And the fact is stock sounds as well. It takes away from a complete aircraft package. It really does. And considering that people are selling great aircraft with full custom sounds, custom exteriors as well for the very same price, I truly believe it's a little overpriced. I will say it is amazingly well done. It is amazingly high fidelity. I'm really pleased with how this operates and flies. Now the flight model hasn't been changed that much, if at all, but the systems are all very, very good. Everything's operating as I'd expect it to operate during this flight. Not that I'm doing anything unusual, I've just done a circle and a bit of a circuit here. But what we saw on the ground, everything works. Everything functions the way it's intended to. And the aircraft really feels 10 times more alive, 100 times more alive. Again, I like it. I think it's great. I think they're doing a good job with this. I'm going to have to work out why the heck my stuff isn't behaving necessarily properly. Maybe some of you will. But you saw me in there. We followed the pre-start and the start checklists, and no start. Not sure why that would be. Could be a sim thing, could be a me thing, could be this. I will not blame anybody for that one at this time because I can't prove what caused that. But the price is the one thing, again, I will gripe about. Those trees are pretty close to the threshold there. There we go. on the ground here. Let's pull those flaps up. Oh, Nelly, stop. I want to get off this taxiway, please. Yeah. Let's not cut the grass too much. We're cutting the grass. That's fine. The grass needed cutting anyway. I just want to get off the runway here because we've been at this video way too long and I want to do one last thing here. So I'm going to kill the engine here. Problem is that this doesn't operate with my honeycomb. So I'm thinking the starting issue might be honeycomb related. But let's just quickly go down here. We'll turn this down to off. Now you've got the electronic sounds, but... Do you hear that? Yeah. Now obviously you can lean with this system as well. So the lean find is going to help you guide you to where you want to be leaning your fuel off to for the correct settings. So that functions there. That's oxygen sounds. What have we got over here? Yeah, you can even hear the AC blower. Isn't that cool? It's a little thing, but it's such a big difference. And you'll see we do have cabin temperature here. Yeah. Let's pop the window. Does that make a difference? Let's make it Celsius like a normal human being. Don't know how cold it is outside, so the temperature might rise with the opening window. But even the ticking of the engine there as it's cooling down. It's nice. It's these little nuances that make this a great add-on. Whether you agree with me on the exterior thing or not, I don't know, it's not the end of the world, but I think it would make it perfect. That's my thing. I think this would be literally perfect if those things were included. That's about it. So temperature's rising, so I guess it's warmer. But there you go. Yeah. Make the decision for yourselves. I think this is worth the price. I just think it would have been much more worth it if it had the exterior again. That's my one gripe. The only thing I can really gripe about. The rest of this thing is beautiful, it's detailed, everything works exactly as it should, and you've got all the options to go through real procedures. You will get punished for doing things wrong. It is a great add-on. Decision is in your hands. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.